Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. Welcome back. Today we'll be making this cute Home Sweet Home card for a new homeowner. So to start with, I've got a 7" by 10" piece of heavy cardstock. I'm going to take my scoring board and a bone folder and score that right at 5 inches. Fold my cardstock over, reinforce that crease. Gives me a nice 5 by 7" card base. Next I'll be bringing in my Sizzix Bigz die. This is by Tim Holtz and it's the window and window frame die. And as you can see, the Bigz dies are fairly large. So you only need to use for mine, a cutting plate, the Bigz die, a piece of cardstock for the window and the window box, and then another cutting plate. And I run that through my die cutting machine. And there is our window and window box. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'll be adding this pattern paper in this brick pattern. My window will go about right here, and I want to add that window box. And I don't want those bricks showing through the window pane, so I'm measuring my window, and I'm going to cut out a piece of white cardstock that I can adhere behind the window. It fits perfectly. And between the cardstock and the window, I'm going to use this recycled piece of acetate that is from craft packaging. So I'll recycle that. I'm going to cut it the same width and height as that piece of white cardstock. And it'll give it the look of actual glass in the window panes. Then to add dimension, I'm going to go about every 1/8 inch down that white piece of cardstock to score it so it looks like blinds. So now when I add my acetate and my white cardstock, it looks like I have blinds in the window. So I'll adhere all of that down to my card front. Right there. Then to add dimension to my window box, I'm going to use a little piece of foam tape, and you can see I don't go all the way to the top of the box because I want to be able to tuck in my foliage and my flowers. So I adhere the window box, gives it a kind of a 3D look, and you can see I've got room to add some foliage and flowers right in there. Next, I bring out several pieces of scrap paper that I thought the colors went really well with that teal colored window pane and window box. And I'll be using these for my flowers, flower centers, and some of my foliage. Here I'm using my punches, bringing out all kinds of punches for flowers and the foliage, and even some, I think that's coral actually, but I'm going to use it for a stem. And I punch out a few pieces just to get an idea of how many I'm going to need to fill up that window box and how I'm going to design my arrangement. So I'm just playing around here. Get an idea of what's going to fit in the window box. That looks like it'd be a pretty good basis to start with. So I'm going to start punching out some of these flowers, and I'm going to put on some music for you until we get to a point where I'll pick up with the narration again. Okay, as you can see here, I've got all of my foliage and flowers punched out, and now I'm using a McGill's silicone mat and two ball styluses. One's a medium ball and one's the small ball stylus. And what this does is when I apply pressure to these cutout pieces, it's going to add some dimension. You'll see I'll start with some of this foliage, and I just add a little pressure at the base of the leaves, and it starts giving them a little bit of a curl and a curve. And the smaller the piece, the smaller stylus I use. So especially for this little stemmed piece here and those leaves, as you can see, I use the small ball stylus. Same here. Then when I move to the bigger flowers, I will switch back to the larger ball stylus. And I'm just kind of adding pressure from the center and at the bottom of those leaves. Let me add a little more music here for you as I go through these steps. I want to do to the flowers is add a little center dot to those tiny little yellow flowers, and I'm using a magenta marker to do that. And the little details do add up to make a big difference. There you go. There's our foliage and flowers all arranged in our little window box. Got our blinds and our window there. Next, I'm going to use the Cricut Small Talk frames and tags cut at 2.5 inches for this Home Sweet Home sentiment. And I've cut that out of gray cardstock. And then I used a little darker gray for just the word sweet. And I'll get that all adhered together and put on to the front of my card. There we go. Alright, that completes the outside of our card. So on the inside I used a W+9 Neighbors stamp set for that little house in the right hand corner, and the congratulations is a die cut. And there's our finished card. We've got lots of dimension to the card and a really sweet window box arrangement. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to see more videos. Thank you. Until next time, happy crafting.